Hey guys, what's up? It's Kevin for the win. We're back for Monster Hunter Rise. Today we're looking at the new Sunbreak DLC, which gives us Master Rank and trying out new builds. We're taking a look at the bow build here. So we're going to be using Bow of Light and Courage. Plus, as you can see, free 40 free attack, element blast 40, affinity 10%, but that's because of what skills we have. We're also going to be using a pretty good armor set in my personal opinion. This is a mix set. So let's get into it. Mighty Bow Feather. This is going to give you Bow Charge Plus. There's not a Master Rank version of that, so keep in mind this is the only high rank piece of gear that we'll be using here. As you can see, the Bow of Light and Courage Plus is the Tiastra maxed out Master Rank one. We're going to be using Barif Mail. Attack boost level 2, defense boost level 2, and muck resistance level 2 is what you get with that. So we want all three of those skills on this particular build. We're also going to be using the Katachi Bracers X, that being Constitution level 3 and Fortify level 1, which you get skills for with this particular build. Next up, we're going to be using the Anjanam Coil X. This will give us attack boost level 2 and critical boost level 1, as well as good gem slots. We're going to use the Ignat Greaves X. This will give us attacks boost level 2, as well as critical boost 2. For the Pelins, you can use this, or you can use anything that you prefer. For my Talisman, I have a Weakness Exploit level 2, as well as a Reload Speed 1 with a couple of slots. Let's show you decorations. First, we're going to be using Tenderizer Jewel in the Bow of Light and Courage Plus. Obviously, because Mighty Bow Feather does not have a slot, we're not going to be able to use it. So Tiastra Soul Jewel 2 is what you want for the Rampage slot for the Tiastra Bull. That way you can increase the amount of blast. Mighty Bow Feather doesn't have a slot. Critical Jewel level 2 for Barif Mail. Kadachi Bracers X, you want a Critical Jewel level 2. The Anjanaf Coil X, you want Critical Jewel 2. Drain Jewel 1, Drain Jewel 1. And for the Ignat Greaves, you want Quick Load Jewel 1, Quick Load Jewel 1. For the Fatal Talisman slots, you're going to want Drain Jewel 1 and a Quick Load Jewel 1. So what is this going to look like when we put it all together? That is a excellent question, my friend. So let's take a look at that. So first off, this is what my Master Rank is, in case you're wondering. So we're going to have 358 attack, 10% affinity, 567 defense, -1 fire resistance, -8 water resistance, +6 you see the thunder. For the skills, attack boost level 6, critical boost level 3, weakness exploit level 3, constitution 3, stamina feat 3, reload speed 3, critical eye 2, defense boost 2, and there is still even more skills here. Could you believe that? We also have, I'm going to take you to the next page here in a second. Just want you to see all the skills that are out here. This is a really big damage we see that. We're going to have muck resistance level 2, bow charge +1, and a fortify level 1, which is the maxed out levels. Now for the skills, attack boost level 6 is going to give you +9 attack, as you can see here, plus a bonus 9. Critical boost level 3 basically increases damage dealt by critical hits to 40%, so that's going to increase our affinity. Then when you factor in the weakness exploit, attacks that hit weak spots give automatically 50% increase affinity. Constitution basically fixes our stamina so we don't get depleted. Exhaust power +40 with stamina feats, so we can actually drain the enemy of their stamina and make them exhausted by just attacking them. Bowgun speed +3 here. Really, we just want this though for the load bow coating. You can take out a reload speed gem here if you want. Critical Eye 2 just increases 10% affinity. That way we'll have 40 on the weapon automatically. Defense Boost 2 is here to mitigate the lack of defense that you have on the Mighty Bow Feather, so keep that in mind. Muck Resistance 2, just basically we can't get caught in things that negate our movement speed. Bow Charge Plus just gives us the final bow charge on our bows. And Fortify, anytime you die, you get 10% attack and defense for each time you use it. So, alright. We're going to go into the hunt here, and there's a couple of things that, if you're not familiar with bow users, that you should be very aware of when it comes to bow. In order to attack with the bow, you need to be able to do something which is called a critical distance. Critical distance, in particular, is where you stand in a particular sweet spot where you're doing the maximum amount of damage. You're going to be able to see that when the screen starts shaking. For the purpose of this demonstration, instead of attacking a practice dummy, we were going to use a Tetradon Master Rank version. I could do higher monsters, but it would take a lot longer, and since the purpose of this guide is just to demonstrate what you want to do with the weapon and capitalize on certain attack windows and everything of the sort, it's in our benefit to use a monster that's pretty easy to show the targets. Now keep in mind this is going to abuse weakness exploit as well as critical boost, so we want to attack weak spots. Most monsters' weak spots are in fact, usually the head, sometimes the tail, and sometimes the back. For Tetradon, it's going to be the face area. We're going to charge up some bows. This will fire off Rapid Freeze and Rapid Cores. If we use a lower level charge, it's going to be a Pierce ammo. So if we just were to fire the bow without really charging it up, it's going to be a Pierce ammo. So what we're going to do is we're basically targeting the face. The good thing with this is the more bow shots that we can get off, the more chances we have to flinch the monster. Now, one of the good things with the bow and arrow, although it has been actually nerfed for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, is the fact that when you dodge with one of your Hunter Art skills, you actually get an increased charge automatically. So what people used to do was they bash around very quickly to build up charges. You can still do that, case in point here, and you want to fire off on a sweet spot. So basically, though, you're always going to want to be targeting the monster's critical hit spot, causing flinches, everything that you could potentially do. Going for knockdowns. The good thing about this bow and arrow is that it has a high potential to actually cause not so much knockdowns, but staggers and everything of the sort. And then depending on monsters such as Tetradon there, we can kind of knock it out of its outer form. Basically, it's very simple. You're just going to be targeting specific spots. Now, the one drawback to using an armor set of this particular nature is the fact that you are going to run out of stamina quickly. As you hold in the bow and arrow, obviously you're draining stamina. Now, you can mitigate that by not holding in the bow and arrow, but because you have to fire off so many good shots and you have to get within critical distance, if I have it here. Critical distance, as you see there, the screen is shaking a little bit. That means that you're in the perfect spot for the bow and arrow. Now, bow and arrow, much like the light bow gun, is going to be all about positioning, so you have to maintain positioning. When you're soloing a monster, it's a little bit easier to do it. Obviously, if you're going against groups of dual blade users, or not so much dual blade users, but like blade masters such as longsword, greatsword, dual blades, insect blade, it's really hard for you to be able to maintain your critical hit distance and everything in the sort, due to the fact that they tend to just kind of cluster around the face, and there is a very high chance that while you're firing off your bow and arrows, that they will actually, you know, get staggered from it and everything of the sort, so you have to be particularly cautious with how you do everything. Okay, so we got the mount on the monster here. We're just doing this for a bit meaty damage and to bring it a little further down. Now we're going to switch to the close range coating, which is really good for close up personal, because you can do extra damage. Another good thing is, because we have the Theastra Soul gem here, we get an increase to our blast damage. So every time blast goes off with this bow, we're actually doing an extra 240 damage. So if you do your rotations pretty good, and you're able to hit a good amount of weak spots and everything the sort, you can do, in theory, probably around 640 to even 700 damage, just based on a certain rotation. So, as you can see, I do have the numbers up because I know a lot of people like to see the numbers. I don't particularly like to hump the numbers, but it does get particularly useful. Alright, let's fire off some more bow shots here. As you can see, we gotta move away here. We've got a charge shot. Let's see, we're not in position there, unfortunately. Probably gotta move back a little bit, even. Let's get out of the way there. It's all about staying mobile and picking your spots perfectly. You can even max charge it out if you get a chance to. I try not to do it because we can get a little bit more DPS that way, but it is perfectly fine if you want to just fire off some charge shots. I like to fire off charge shots when I know the monster particularly down. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. Let's go on our mount. In theory, with this build, you should be able to take down monsters within 9 to 10 minutes when they're Master Rank. If it's a very high Master Rank monster, on average, a solo clear time, maybe 15 minutes. Or a group of 4 that know exactly what they're doing, take a monster down like this with 5 minutes. Anything that's a higher level one, I'm talking Master Rank 6 or basically, or obviously some of the secret monsters that I won't talk about, that's going to take you a little bit longer. You probably will see on an efficient group somewhere between 8 to 10 minutes. On a less efficient group, somewhere about 15 minutes. Obviously, efficiency is very, very important, and obviously when you're playing with randoms, you don't know necessarily if your gear is optimized for everything of the sort, but that's basically what you're basically going to be looking at with this arm. Now, the good thing about this particular build is, let's say you don't want to use the Bow of Light and Courage Plus, which is perfectly fine, and you have another favorite, like the Magnum Malo, or maybe you have the Champion's Bow, which I haven't been able to get yet because I haven't had time to grind for the pieces of it, but it's still perfectly doable. You can actually just use that build in here as well. You can switch out to whatever bow you want, switch out the gems that you need to be able to get a little bit of buff for whatever you're trying to do, and it should do pretty good because of the weakness exploit critical boost and the attack power that we get, plus the amount of affinity we're using. Pretty much most of the time you're going to be hitting for maximum amount of damage. Let's dodge out of the way here. Let's fire off some bows. Let's mount onto this Royal Ludoff, and we will attack into the monster, and hopefully Okay, so let's ride the Royal Loot off now. I think probably our Tetradon's probably within one hit here, if I would say, if anything. So there is particularly that. All right, let's go. So we did it. All right, so that's going to do it for pretty much this guide. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow. We'll take a look at the clear time. If you have any questions in regards to this bow and arrow build, definitely do not hesitate to ask me in the comments. If you have your own spin on this, definitely make sure to put it in the comments. Keep in mind that this is a recommendation for a build for the bow and arrow. There are multiple ways that you could possibly play this in Master Rank. That's the beauty of Master Rank, that you could try out multiple different types of builds and they will work. This is just my recommendation as to what I feel works best in the early to as well as the mid Master Ranks. It can even this build do pretty well when it comes to basically MR6 and basically also I would say MR50 plus. But that's going to pretty much do it. Keep in mind that with the Mighty Bowfeather, unfortunately, you do lose a bit of defense. It's a matter of whether you want to gem in a little bit more defense here, but you're going to have to take away from something, which I don't think is necessarily a good idea. Let's see if we got any good loot here. It's not really going to matter in terms of the loot, per se. What it is going to matter is what exactly was our clear time here. So, with that being said, let's see. Let's take it all. Okay, so this was a 5 minute and 58 second clear time with a Master Rank Tetradon. I would say that's pretty good. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so. And I will see you for the next Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak video.